I hate you, Will.
Review video! Today we are going to be reviewing WandaVision. So, you probably are already aware, but this is the first Marvel Studios Disney Plus original series. And it was on Disney Plus because it's a Disney Plus original series, and that sounded really dumb when I just said that. Yeah. So, this series is wacko, but that's good. We're gonna be talking about every episode, but since every episode is like so different, it's gonna be kind of a little hard to rank, but we'll just give it a try and see how this turns out. Starting out with episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience. Yeah. The first we see of these characters right after Endgame, and it's a 1950s sitcom. Yeah, and Vision was dead the last time we saw him. So, I mean, like, we were keeping track of what was going on. So we knew more about what was going on than casual. But it was still kind of weird just seeing, like, the first Marvel thing we see at Phase 4 is a 1950s sitcom. Some of the flaws with this episode aren't necessarily flaws. They're more just the slow-paced storytelling they have for the first few episodes, but that works to the benefit later on. I mean, the humor was good. Haven't seen 1950s sitcoms really, so I don't like have anything to base that off of. But it was just kind of an interesting start. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this episode a 7.
We give it a 6. We changed it.
You give it a 6?
Yes.
Andy didn't like that episode.
No, it's one less.
Andy just hates the 1950s, I guess.
It's one worse than you say.
Okay, but then the next episode, episode 2, Don't Touch That Dial. So this one was also just mostly a sitcom with bits and pieces of what's to come. So it creates all this intrigue. I'd also give this episode a 7. It has some more funny bits in it, but then it's also still just the sitcom. It's not really a Marvel episode. Yeah. Moving on to episode 3.
What's this one called? I forgot.
Oh, let me check Disney Plus. Oh yeah, now in color.
Oh yeah, colorful.
Because it's in the 70s.
Yeah.
And they have color in the 70s. Yeah. So this episode is still mostly a sitcom throughout it. But it's the first one to reference the MCU with he was killed by Ultron. You know, really, I guess we're not really good at reviewing things because this take has already taken like 5 minutes. You guys have only been watching the stuff that I edited in the video. But we're just like rambling and like not knowing exactly what to say, but there's hours of content on WandaVision reviews, so if you just watch that, you're just hearing us ramble. We're not really we're not giving in-depth takes. We're just Andy's just saying
What do you give this episode?
I give this episode an 8 because it has the funny stuff, it has all the colors, the fun stuff of sitcoms, while like first revealing this isn't right, like first revealing this is the MCU. This isn't just like WandaVision, a sitcom. This is MCU. Well, we already knew it was MCU, but this was the first one to show this is MCU. Yeah. Moving on to episode 4. We interrupt this program. This episode is basically just a context episode, real world context for the first 3 episodes. And it's also like the episode dedicated to a bunch of Marvel side characters. Yeah. I'd want a Jimmy Woo solo series.
Welcome to the Wooniverse. You gotta put the hashtags in that little YouTube video saying welcome to the Wooniverse.
Okay. That's super. You're referencing Super Carl Brothers.
I'm referencing Super Carl Brothers.
I guess we're basically like nerdy brothers, except we're not as nerdy. Well, actually, we're very nerdy. Yeah. But like, they're adults. We're still teenagers. Hey, brother. this review is dumb. Unlike WandaVision. WandaVision is great.
Yeah, WandaVision is amazing.
This episode, I give an 8, which is the 8th number of the alphabet.
That wasn't even funny.
Moving on to episode 5! On a very special episode.
Yeah.
This episode has the sitcom side and the real world and mushes them together into one episode. And then you get a episode where the stakes get higher, where the kids, Billy and Tommy, Wiccan and Speed, because we're nerds.
They like grow up like in 2 seconds.
Yeah. I said I'm like, so I would say this episode is one of the most intriguing ones because it was in the middle of the series where we're still figuring out exactly what's going on, but we are seeing the bigger stakes and like consequences. Also, at the end of the episode, when we see Quicksilver, but it's not Avengers Quicksilver, it's X-Men Quicksilver. Oh, we forgot to say spoiler warning. Well,
spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. And moving on to the next episode. That's episode 6, the all-new Halloween Spooktacular.
Ooh, it was pretty scary.
No, it was spooktacular. Like the previous episode.
We didn't rate the previous episode.
Oh yeah, the previous. Okay, I would give that one a 9.
That's a
episode
9.
5. That's a 9. It was a Halloween special, and people love Halloween specials. And this one had the best commercial. I want some Yo Magic yogurt.
Yeah, I can't open it. I'm dead. Vision almost dies in this episode.
Oh yeah, he does. Billy and Tommy, they become their powers.
You find out that they get powers.
I also give this one. This is a 9. This is another 9.
Yeah.
Episode 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what that episode is. No,
this episode was called
What's it called? Actually, what was it called?
Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Oh, yeah.
I would say this episode felt kind of more like a setup episode. Like most of it was just setting up the reveal at the end. So, I mean, although it was a fine episode, it had Agatha all along. So I had no idea that Agatha was evil. I
just thought she was the nosy neighbor.
I just thought she was the nosy neighbor. Yeah, definitely not. They caught me by surprise. I say this episode's a 7. Do you agree?
You dropped down 2 points?
Or an 8.
You wanted to give episode 1 a 7.
Yeah.
You think episode 1 and episode...
Yeah, you wanted to give episode 1 a 6.
It's 1 point!
Fine, this could be an 8! Seriously. Coming on to the next episode
called Previously On. So while the last one was pretty funny, this one had no humor at all. It was all sadness.
But I like that. I liked this episode.
It was a good episode.
Most of the stuff we already knew, but seeing it was like...
Yeah.
I said this episode's a 9 for me.
Yeah.
And then the last episode!
Yeah!
Series finale!
Yeah, that's what...
Such a clever name.
Yeah.
They saved all of the action for the whole series for this one episode. So you get Vision versus White Vision. And they fight each other. Just talk about boats for
because talking about boats is very philosophical.
Agatha versus Wanda, and then she becomes the Scarlet Witch. And all of that, when the family teamed up, super family, that was the Incredibles.
That was the Incredibles, yeah.
When like there's all the battles and stuff, and it's like, then there's the emotional ending.
Where they have to say goodbye.
And then it was sad, but I didn't cry.
I cried. He just doesn't. His heart is just like, I'm not gonna cry about anything.
But then there's 2 end credit scenes.
There's 2
end credit scenes. The first one.
I just got 2 minutes.
The first one was Monica Rambeau talking. Oh, I forgot to mention
She's
Monica.
in the.
Yeah,
she's in the
I forgot
show.
to mention that.
And she gets powers.
Yeah, but we knew that because of the Marvel character encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And like Spectrum, or Photon, whatever one. She takes them multiple names.
And like Hayward tried to shoot 2 kids in this episode.
Yeah.
Hayward's a bad guy as well. You might not know who that is if you
because we didn't mention him.
Yeah.
You know, this is
Darcy Lewis is also.
Yeah.
She's from Thor.
Yeah. Okay. This review is not. If you want an actual legit review,
go watch somebody else.
Go watch somebody else's review. Go watch an actual reviewer's review. We're just talking. We just talk movies way too much. If you can rate your phone in the right place, if I consider clicking that subscribe button.
In the first end credit scene
is a squirrel talking to Monica Rambeau, and she's like, an old friend of your mother's wants to see you. And that's Nick Fury.
Or Talos.
No, because Talos was on Earth.
Oh yeah, Talos. Oh yeah.
So it's Nick Fury, because he's in space. If you look at the end credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home, and then if you put together the pieces that Spider-Man Far From Home takes place a few months after this, and this is only takes place 3 weeks after, so then it definitely makes sense that Nick Fury was the one in space.
And the second end credit scene.
Second end credit scene.
It just starts with a bunch of scenery, all the water and the trees.
Tasty.
Like eat it all up.
And then you see Wanda at a house, and then there's a different Wanda, and it's Dark Wanda,
and she's flipping
through the dark hole, which was the evil book.
Billy and Tommy are screaming out for help
because Wanda is gonna make a deal with Mephisto and Doctor Strange 2.
And Wanda's gonna be a bad guy.
And Doctor Strange is gonna have to fight Wanda.
Yeah.
This episode, what do you give this one?
9.5.
9.5?
Yeah.
I give this one a 9.
You're just a hater, really.
I'm not a hater.
You're just a hater.
I'm not a hater. Looking at it as a conclusion to WandaVision, it's a satisfying conclusion. But I could see why a lot of people might be disappointed by this episode.
Because of their stupid fan theories.
Some people were over speculating stuff, and they thought that this episode would like open the gateway to the multiverse and would bring in X-Men, Fantastic Four, Tobey Maguire, Magneto, which is part of X-Men. That's not what this was supposed to be. It was, I mean, it might lead into that into Doctor Strange 2 and some of that, but this was never supposed to be doing that. The one thing that I could see like as annoying is Evan Peters as Quicksilver in episode 5. I hadn't actually seen the X-Men movies. Call me uncultured. You could call me uncultured, but after that I was like, okay, I need to watch the X-Men movies to see this. And then they're like, it was just a prank. He's not actually Quicksilver. He's not. The X-Men aren't coming. He's just Ralph. He's just a guy. Marvel was basically just like, hey fans, look at this. No, this is a long video. This is gonna be heck to edit. But overall, as a series, so each episode is so different, and each episode by its own needs to rely on the other episodes, even how different they are. It's like a puzzle piece. They're all shaped differently, but they fit together to make art.
WandaVision.
So actually, as a whole series, I would give this series from beginning to end, the series, a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's good.
It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Just the way they were able to build the intrigue and then have a finale and then still allow for possibilities for future projects.
Yeah.
So the clip of us saying, well, that's all for us, please like and subscribe, bye, got deleted. So I'm just going to say it right now. But comment below what you thought about WandaVision. And that's all for us. Please like and subscribe. Bye.